Julius Caesar, the Ides of March and the fall of the Roman Republic. The assassination of Julius Caesar on the Ides of March in 44 BCE is one of the most infamous events in the history of Rome. It marked not only the dramatic end of Caesar's life, but also the beginning of the end for the Roman Republic. Caesar's rise to power, his accumulation of unchecked authority, the political turmoil in Rome, and the subsequent civil wars that followed his death set in motion the transition from the Roman Republic to the Roman Empire. This event, while a pivotal moment, was part of a larger cycle of instability and conflict that had been undermining the Republic for decades. Caesar's rise to power. Julius Caesar was born in 100 BCE into a patrician family that, though noble, was not among the wealthiest or most powerful in Rome. However, Caesar's ambition and political acumen were evident from an early age. His rise was facilitated by the shifting alliances and political dynamics of Rome, which in the 1st century BCE were marked by instability, social unrest, and class division. The Republic was facing constant internal challenges, from inequality between the aristocracy, the patricians, and the plebeians, common citizens, to military struggles in far-flung provinces. In 60 BCE, Caesar formed the First Triumvirate, a political alliance with two of Rome's most influential figures, Pompey the Great, a successful general, and Crassus, the wealthiest man in Rome. This coalition allowed Caesar to gain the consulship in 59 BCE, which gave him the political platform to push through reforms that benefited the common people and strengthen his political base. After his term as consul, Caesar was appointed governor of Gaul, modern France, where he would earn fame and power through his military campaigns. Over the course of the Gallic Wars, 58 to 50 BCE, Caesar expanded Rome's territory, bringing large swathes of Europe under Roman control. His successes on the battlefield increased his popularity with the Roman people and his soldiers, while also earning the ire and jealousy of many in the Senate, including Pompey and Crassus. The tension between Caesar and Pompey led to the breakdown of the First Triumvirate, and in 49 BCE, Caesar famously crossed the Rubicon River with his army, defying the Senate's orders to disband. His crossing of the Rubicon, an act of open defiance, marked the beginning of a civil war between Caesar's forces and those loyal to Pompey. After a series of battles, Pompey was defeated and eventually murdered in Egypt in 48 BCE. With Pompey gone, Caesar was left as the undisputed master of Rome. Political turmoil and Caesar's dictatorship. Caesar's triumphs in war and his increasing dominance in Roman politics raised concerns among many in the Senate. His accumulation of power, including his appointment as Dictator Perpetuo, dictator for life, in 44 BCE, seemed to many to be the end of the Republic. While Caesar enacted a series of reforms aimed at addressing Rome's chronic social, economic, and administrative problems, his concentration of power in one individual violated the Roman principle of shared governance and the traditional balance of power between the Senate and the executive magistrates. Caesar's reforms included land redistribution for veterans, the expansion of the Senate, and measures to stabilize the economy. But his centralization of power and his disregard for the Senate's authority led to increasing resentment. Many in the Senate saw Caesar's rule as a direct threat to the Republic and the traditional aristocratic order. Some feared that Caesar would become a monarch, which was anathema to the Roman system. This fear was compounded by Caesar's public displays of power, such as his acceptance of honors that hinted at monarchy, including a crown offered by his supporters. As his power grew, So did his enemies within the Senate, and in early 44 BCE, a group of senators, led by Brutus and Cassius, conspired to assassinate him. The assassination and its aftermath. On the Ides of March, March 15th, in 44 BCE, Julius Caesar was assassinated by a group of approximately 60 senators. They attacked him during a meeting of the Senate in the theater of Pompey, stabbing him multiple times. According to historical accounts, when Caesar saw that Brutus, whom he considered an ally and even a possible illegitimate son, was among his attackers, he famously uttered the words, "Et tu, Brute?" and "You, Brutus?" The murder of Caesar shocked Rome and was intended to restore the traditional republican government. The conspirators believed that by killing Caesar, they would save the republic from the dangers of dictatorship. However, the assassination did not restore the republic. Instead, it plunged Rome into a period of chaos and civil war. Caesar's death left a power vacuum that no one could easily fill. His heir, Octavian, the grandnephew of Caesar, was just 18 years old, and he initially lacked the experience or political strength to assert his authority. Nevertheless, Octavian quickly forged alliances with Caesar's loyalists, including the general Mark Antony and Caesar's chief lieutenant, Lepidus. Together, they formed the Second Triumvirate, a political and military alliance that set out to avenge Caesar's death and defeat the forces of the conspirators. The civil wars that followed Caesar's assassination were fierce and bloody. The conspirators, including Brutus and Cassius, were defeated at the Battle of Philippi in 42 BCE by the forces of Octavian and Antony. With the death of Brutus and Cassius, the Senate's resistance to the triumvirs was effectively crushed. However, the rivalry between Octavian and Antony soon turned into open conflict. The final showdown came at the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, where Octavian's forces decisively defeated Antony and his lover, Queen Cleopatra of Egypt. The rise of the Roman Empire. The defeat of Antony and Cleopatra marked the end of the civil wars and the consolidation of power in the hands of Octavian, who would become the first Roman emperor, Augustus. In 27 BCE, Octavian officially gave up his extraordinary powers, but in practice, he remained the ruler of Rome. He was granted the title Augustus, meaning the revered one, and he skillfully maintained the appearance of restoring the republic while creating an autocratic regime. Augustus effectively transformed Rome from a republic, where power was shared among elected officials, into an empire, where power was concentrated in the hands of a single ruler. While the Roman Republic was formally ended with the rise of Augustus, its fall had been set in motion long before the Ides of March. Caesar's rise to power, the political instability of the late Republic, and the assassination that followed were all part of the unraveling of a political system that had struggled to adapt to the challenges of governing an expanding empire. The death of Julius Caesar was not the cause of the fall of the Republic, but it was the event that sealed its fate, leading inexorably to the establishment of the Roman Empire under Augustus.